Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's DAF Yomi. Bava Metzia DAF Chav Zayin, we are holding at the Mishnah, which is 7 lines off the top of the Amud. Says the Mishnah, we have a pasuk. You find a lost item, whether it's a donkey, whether it's an ox, whether it's a sheep, whether it's a simla, a garment, right? Kol aveda sochicha. Any lost item, you find it, you return it. So why does the pasuk have to single out, let's say, a simla, garment? Isn't that included in kol aveda sochicha, right? Af ha-simla hoisa b'chlal kol elu. So the simla that you found is really, just another item. It's included in the general term of kol aveda sochicha. V'lo mayotzas. So why did the Torah single it out? Why mention it separately? To teach you something. To connect all avedos, all lost items, to a simla. It has to fit the criterions found in simla. That, and only that, will trigger the mitzvah of Hashavas Aveda. And to tell you, Ma simla, what's unique about a simla? It's man-made. It has unique identifying signs. There's a person behind it. Somebody claiming it, right? Ma simla miyuchedes. What's unique about a simla? Yesh ba simanim. It has unique, identifying symbols. And presumably it's owned by somebody who would like to have it back. Right? It's man-made. It was made by somebody. It was purchased by somebody. This fellow wants it back. It's still before Yush, right? Av kol dover sheyesh bo simanim v'yesh lo tovim chayv lahachros. Likewise, another item found in the street. You will only return that item. You will only be obligated to be machris, to call out, to seek the owner, if it fits the bill. It has simanim, and the owner has not yet given up on it. So just as the simla has simanim, Rashi says, stam simla yesh bo siman. We assume a simla has some unique characteristics which can be identified by the owner. And yesh bo tovin, because presumably it wasn't just dropped down from the sky, it was man-made. Right? Rashi says it was nasis b'dei adam. Right? So there's somebody behind this simla who would like to have it back. Likewise, any item that has these two qualities, it has simanin and it has somebody looking for it, meaning it's pre-yush, you have to return it, as opposed to something which the owner already gave up on. He was miyayish. In that case, there's no chiyuv of Hashavas Aveda. Now, what did the Mishnah mean? Af hasim lahoisa, right? B'chlal kol elu. What does this mean? Says the Gemara, "My b'chlal kol." What does it mean b'chlal kol elu? Amar Rava, it means like this: b'chlal kol aveda sochicha. The Torah gives you a general term. All your brother's lost items. That's it. Why add more? Why do you need to itemize things? And the answer is, like we said in the Mishnah, to teach us the guidelines of the mitzvah of Hashavas Aveda. Amar Rava. But the question now is, why does the Torah have to go through all these different examples? Lamali the kasav rachmana. Why does the Torah have to say shoyer, chamor, se, and simla? Tzrichi, there is a point in each one. The yikas of Rahman is simla. The pasuk only mentions a simla. Havamina, I would think, when do you have to return the simla? Be'edin de gufa, v'simanan de gufa. If the owner comes with witnesses or he has simanan on the actual item itself. Look, the simla had a crease there, a tag there. Okay. Aval chamar be'edin de ukav, v'simanan de ukav, emeloi, mehadrin alei. But let's say you found a donkey. And there are no identifying signs on the donkey itself. Rather, the owner is trying to identify the donkey and claim it as his by proving that the ukaf, the saddle, is his because it had this and this siman on it. Who says that's sufficient to prove ownership on the chamor itself? Maybe that's not enough to require Hashavas Aveda. Kasav Rachmana Chamor, that's why the Torah adds chamor, which has a saddle on it, to teach us this very point. Afilu chamor b'simoni ukav, that the simanim of the ukav are sufficient to obligate returning the chamor to the owner. Okay, so we have addressed simla, we have addressed chamor. What about shor and seh? Why are those mentioned? Shor v'seh the kasav Rachmana lamali. What's the point of those? Answer is, shor is teaching that afilu legizas navai, that even pertaining to the hair of his tail, that also has to be returned, even though it's just negligible in terms of value. The point of mentioning is legizoisa, to teach you that even the shearings that you've shorn off the seh, that also has to be returned to the owner. Now, b'lichtav rachmana is shor. So why does the Torah have to mention both? Just say shor. The afilu legizas zinavai, which tells you even the little hair on the tail, which is very negligible, right, very insignificant, that has to be returned to kolshke and sell exosim. Certainly the sharings of the seh, which are more valuable, more significant, more substantial. Says, well, you're right. Elam arava. There are two words that we haven't really addressed and found purpose for them. Chamar debar Rabbi Yehuda. The word chamar in the psukim regarding a bar, right? An animal falls into a pit and you have to pay for the damages. So we, the chachamim, learn from chamar v'loi kelim. You only pay for a chamar who fell into a pit, but not for his equipment. You're potter on that, as we learned back in Bava Metzia. But Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. He says you pay even for equipment that got damaged. So what does he do with chamar? We're not sure. So that's one word we're not sure about. V'seh. And likewise, the apparently extra word seh, which of course is not extra, we don't have an application for it. V'seh da aveda, and the word seh found in the psukim of Hashavas Aveda, as we just mentioned, according to all shittas. Kashi, we're not sure how we apply those words. Asks the Gemara, what do you mean? Maybe the point is to include the animal waste. Right? So that's the point of adding seh, to tell you even this insignificant material has to be returned to the owner. Well, that's not true, says the Gemara. Who the owner allows the buyer, the finder who would trouble himself to look after the animal, he allows him to keep that. That's not that's not something you have to return. Okay. Perhaps the word seh is coming to drive home the point that claiming an item by way of identifying its simanim is mina Torah. The Torah allows that to be considered a form of confirming the owner. Now, it's not just midrabanan. Mina Torah, it's so. The Bailam, because we have a shaila, an ongoing question. Siman and Daira, I said the Rabbanan. Returning a lost item by way of identifying the simanim, is that mina Torah? Or only midrabanan? So perhaps that's why Kasar Rahman said, the Torah mentions said, afilu b'simanim adrina, to teach you that simanim are a proper means of identifying an item. B'simanim derais, right? So why can't we say that? Answer is Amri. The answer given was midiktani lehu tana l'simanim gabi simla. Let's backtrack to the Mishnah. The Tana, who knew the secrets of the Torah, right? He chose to dwell on simla when he presented this concept of simanim. Right? The Tani, as the Mishnah says, ma simla miyuchedes sheish b'simanim v'yish la toivin chayv lahachros av kol davar sheish b'simanim v'yish la toivin chayv lahachros. Right? That was the Mishnah. Apparently, simanim is connected to simla, not to seh. Shmamin of the seh lav l'simanim da also. Apparently, seh is not coming to teach us that point. And we're not sure what the word seh is coming to teach us. Continues the Gemara. Tana Rabban Asher Toivad. Right, so you find something which was lost. Asher Toivad mimenu, lost from him. Umitzasa, which you found. The word Asher Toivad is teaching us that the item found must have a minimum value to it of a pruta. Prat la veda shem b'shav pruta, as opposed to something which is worth less than a pruta. Rashi says it's not called an aveda. It's not called a loss. It's such an insignificant, negligible loss. It's not a loss. It doesn't justify as being called a loss. Rabbi Yehuda has a different angle. The word u'mitzasa teaches us that very same point. You need to find something of value. Prat l'aveda, she'en b'shavar pruta, as opposed to something which is less than a pruta. Rashi says, otherwise, it's not called a metzia. What have you found? It needs to have value. So bottom line, Shabbos Aveda is only applicable to something with a minimum of a Shabbat Prut. Now we have two drushes, right? Is it based on Asher Toivad? Is it based on Mitzasa? It might be not any difference between this or that. Mashmo is Dosh Nikibenayu. They're both on the same track. It needs to have a pruta. It's just a question of which word to learn it from. Mar Nafkali Masha Toivad, he learns it from there. Or Mar Nafkali, the other sheet, learns it from Nafkali Mitzasa. Okay. Nafkali Masha Toivad. Now, if you learn from Masha Toivad, what do you do with Mitzasa? Hayu Mitzasa Mayavid Light? Well, that has another application. The Rabbi tells us in Bava Kama that only an Aveda lost by a Yisrael must be returned, but not of a guy. And even if you picked it up and you already have it, you still don't have to return it. Mitzasa, the asoylia, the mashma. Because in describing the fellow who found the item, the pasuk says u'mitzasa, which means you already picked it up, you have it in your possession, and still, if it's a guy's item, you don't return it. Okay, so that's what we learn from mitzasa. Now the other opinion that learns the pruta halacha from mitzasa. What does it do with hashtayvad? Oh, look, Rabbi Yehuda. That's Rabbi Yehuda. We had this the other day. How do we know that if an item was swept away by the floods? Totally inaccessible, totally written off. Anybody who finds it can keep it, even though it has a simon. Shenemar, that's the pasuk, right? Hashavas Aveda only applies to something which, you found and the other person lost, but it's still accessible to people, so there's a chiyuv Hashavas Aveda. Mishavuda himenu, true, it's lost from the owner, but u'mitzia, it's a kolada, but accessible to other people, then we have a mitzvah of Hashavas Aveda. Yotzazu, as opposed to something swept away in the flood, shavuda himenu ve'enu mitzvah, it's a kolada. It's lost from the owner and from anybody else as well, it's inaccessible. That's mutter, regardless of whether it has a simon or not. So that's what we learn from this pasuk. Now, if you learn the halacha of pruta from u'mitzasa, how do you know Rabbi Noi's halacha regarding the aveda of the guy, right? Well, nafkali u'mitzasa, the extra vav in the beginning of the word includes that halacha as well. Now, if you learn from Ashatev Menu that a mitzvah needs to be a shavar pruta, so how does he know the halacha of that? The flooded item, because the extra word mimenu basically drives home that point. It was only lost from the owner, not from anybody else. Then you have a mitzvah, but otherwise, if it's lost from everybody, then forget it. The other shita does not focus on mimenu, and therefore it's not extra. Bottom line, a aveda that has no pruta word in value is exempt from Hashavas Aveda. One opinion learns it from Asher Toivad, the other one learns it from Mitzasa, according to Abai. There's no nafkamina al halacha, it's just a question of where to learn it from. Rava disagrees. Rava Amar, there is a difference of opinion regarding where you learn it from. There would be a nafkamina. Pruta shehuz le'ikabenayu. Suppose when the fellow dropped it, it had a pruta in value, but then it went down in price by the time you found it. That would be a difference. If you learn from Asher Toivad, well, you have that here. Because when he dropped it, it was worth a pruta, so he deserves it back. But according to the other shita, which focuses on the finder, he finds an item of value. Hey, you don't have that. You don't have that here. Well, asks the Gemara, even if you hold, they learned the halacha from Asher Toivad, let's not ignore the word of mitzvah. The fact is, you need to find the item that he lost. And at this point, it's not the same, it's lower in value. But likely you don't have that. So basically, the Gemara is asking that according to all opinions, whether you focus on this word, on that word, at the end of the day, you need to have found the item of value that he lost, which you don't have because it's lower in value. Let's try the other way. He dropped it when it was less than a pruta, and then it went up in value, then you find it. If you're going to focus on the finding, you have that. But if you're going to focus on the losing, At that point, they had no pruta. Well, same kasha. Even if you're going to focus on the finding, you have to find something significant that he lost. But when he lost it, it wasn't significant. So you should be potter regardless. Rather, says the Gemara, let's try another one. Pruta. It went down and back up. So he lost it as a pruta, it dropped in value, and then went back up to a pruta. So both, when he lost and when it was found, it was worth a pruta, but it fluctuated, it dropped, it dipped below a pruta, somewhere in the middle. So that depends on how you learn the halacha. Why? If the point is, he lost a pruta, you have that. He lost a pruta and you found the pruta that he lost. However, if you focus on mitzasa, you don't have that here. You know why? We learn from mitzasa that it had to have that consistent value. From the moment it was dropped until the moment that it was found. Without any lull. And therefore, in this case, since it did not maintain that constant value throughout, your pot of Mashab Samit. Now comes the big question. When we choose to return Aveda, right? The halacha is we return the Aveda when the owner provides a sign of ownership. Is that minat Torah or is it only midrabanan? What's the difference? Bottom line is, we do it anyways, right? Well, true, by the Metzia we do it, but by a get. Suppose a fellow claims to have dropped a get. He was sent to deliver a get, he dropped it. He's giving us simanan. Can we return it to him and enable him to deliver it to the Isha? That's risky business. That's going into Isser. La duri get Isha b'siman. If simanan can be relied upon in Torah, and sure, be my guest. Madrina, we give it back to the shliach. V'amras the Rabbana, but if the concept of Hashava Saveda b'simanan is only the Rabbanon, ki avad Rabbanon takantav b'mayna. So perhaps we could differentiate that when it comes to monetary issues, Chacham have the ability to enact all kinds of systems. Rashi says, Hefker, Bezdin, Hefker. Chacham have the ability to make Hefker if they choose to. So yeah, they tell you to follow this rule and you follow it. Aval be Isur La'avad Rabban Takanta. When it comes to a get, which is Isur related issues, who says they have the right to do that? They don't do that. So the question is it the Raisa of the Rabban? Toshma, Avasimla, back to the Mishnah. Right? Remember? Why did the Torah single it out? So bottom line, the Mishnah is clearly sourcing the halach of simanin in the pasuk. Well, no. Tana Toivin is trichale. Simanin kedina aspa. Perhaps the main point of the Mishnah was that Yesh ba simanin. Yesh ba toivin. That there's somebody claiming it. Somebody still wants it back. He was not miyash. That's the main point of the Mishnah. The Mishnah gave an example of simanin, but it isn't necessarily rooted in the pasuk. The pasuk's point is that there's somebody claiming it. How are you going to claim it? How are you going to get it back? Who says simanin is adequate? Perhaps you need Adam. Witnesses to testify that it's yours. We're not sure. Okay. Toshma, let's go back to the Gemara there. Chamar b'simani ukav. Right, the Gemara clearly tells us that a chamar will be returned by the owner who provides simanon on the saddle. So you see, simanon is enough. Ema be'edi ukav. Okay, perhaps again, simanon is lavdafka, means a firm, confirmation of ownership, perhaps through edim. Toshma, here comes another raya. So you keep the item with you until your brother comes and claims it. I mean, what's the point of the part? Obviously, you're going to give it to anybody before he actually identifies the item and confirms ownership. So what's the point of the pasuk? Elo darshei. The point is investigate, verify. You should vet him. Im ramai huwa in ramai. Is he honest or not? How do you do that? My love is simanon. Apparently through providing simanon. That's how he's going to confirm his claim. Law, perhaps be'edim, through edim. Tashmai comes another raya. Ein me'iden al parts of haporim machaitim. So the only way to firmly identify a departed person to allow his wife to remarry is if you can testify that you saw the person's face with his nose. Right? So that's a way of that's the minimum requirement to recognize a person. Okay? So you have to actually recognize facially and testify that he died. It's not enough to provide simanan in terms of his general body, build, etc., or his clothing. That's not enough. You have to actually see the person, identify him positive. You have to positively identify the person. Apparently, just giving simanan like his, guf, his kale, that's not enough, because we're not Torah, it's not sufficient proof. Says the Gemara, no. If it would be an absolute, unique siman, it would work. But here, we're not speaking about personal simanim. Amri, the answer is, when we speak about a siman on the guf, gufay the urch v'guts, he claims to have seen a person who was tall, short. That doesn't mean much. Many short, tall people in the world. And when he's providing a siman on the kelev, on his clothing, perhaps, it was her husband's shirt, but maybe he lent it to somebody else, and that person died. So there's no way to confirm identity just by noticing his clothing. Well, if that's correct, that we're concerned about lending out stuff. Earlier we said that if the owner identifies the saddle, we know it's his donkey. Who says? Maybe, it's his saddle, but he lent it to somebody else, and it's somebody else's donkey. Amr, the answer is like this. Nobody lends out saddles, which is custom fit for his own personal donkey, and will damage or harm another donkey if it was placed on it. People don't loan saddles. It can, scrape his, if it's not properly sized, it's not going to work. Another way to explain that Mishnah, the reason why identifying the departed person's clothing doesn't say much about his identity, because all he was saying was, it's white, it's red, it doesn't mean much. Many people have the same style. Asks the Gemara, okay, Elahadasani, what about the Brisa which says a person dropped a get, and we found the get amongst his belongings. Matzah kosher b'kiss, it's tied to his wallet. A barnaki, kiss is a money pouch, a barnaki over his wallet, but tabas to his ring. Then he knows it's his. Shematzoy ben kelev, I found it amongst his kelev. Filizman ruby, even if it's a while later, kosher, he can be sure that it was the get that he dropped, right? What do you mean? If we're concerned about loaning items, kosher b'kiss, am I kosher? Just because he found it tied to his pouch, who says it's his? Maybe he lent his pouch to somebody else, and that person had to get and dropped it. Right? Answer is like this. These happen to be three items that you don't typically lend out. Amri, the answer is kiss, va'arnaki v'tabas, a money pouch, a wallet, a ring. It's very personal. Loy mash, sheli, inshi. People typically don't loan those things out for different reasons. Kiss, va'arnaki, b'shem de mesamni. Interesting. They wouldn't lend out these money-related, things because it could be a bad siman. Rashi says. They say it's a bad siman la'adam shemashal kisei shemaycher le'mazola. It's like a person selling, giving away his good luck. Interesting. So that you keep to yourself. And likewise, nobody lends out their signet, their rings. But tabas shem de mezayah, because that would allow the person to copy it and forge his letters. So bottom line, there's no concern about loaning out. So to get attached to these things is certainly yours. Perhaps this question of how, what degree of reliability do simanim provide? Is it minat Torah or not? Perhaps it's a machlekes tamaim. Ein me'idin, again, we're speaking about testifying that a woman's husband passed away. So, suppose, this person was not recognizable, but they noticed some sort of shuma, wart of some sort. Ein me'idin ala shuma, that's not enough, right? Well, your husband had that wart on his forehead, right? We noticed the wart, that's not enough. Shuma is sufficient proof of identity. Perhaps the machlekes revolves around this question. Tanakama says Simonin is only the Rabbanan, and therefore when it comes to an Eishasish, a married woman, you're not going to rely on that to allow her to remarry. He holds no. Simonin are an absolute proof. Simonin daraisa. Amar Rav and the Kuliyama perhaps all agree Simonin daraisa. And here by the Shuma, there is more reason for concern. There's a phenomenon called Ben Gilai. A person was born with the same mazel. Rashi says, the same hour, the same mazel. So a person with similar, personal characteristics, may have experienced the same wart. Okay, this wart is for this mazel. So the question is, are we concerned about that possibility or not? In which case, perhaps this person with the same wart was really a different person. So that's the machlek. Kamiflaki. Mar Savar Tanakama holds, yeah, there's a concern about that. Shuma Matsui Ben Giloi. So therefore, it doesn't really show personal identity. Umar Savar Shuma Ena Matsui Ben Giloi. No, it's not something you have to worry about. And therefore, if the Shuma that you noticed fits the bill, then you know it's her husband. Another way to explain is the Kuli Alma Shuma Ena Matsui Ben Giloi. All agree it's unlikely that this Shuma was duplicated. The question just is that perhaps this type of Shuma may have changed, parents, the color, upon this person's death. So therefore it doesn't anymore serve to identify him. Mar Savar Simonin Asuyim L'Shtanis Tachamisa. One says it does change. Umar Savar Simonin Ein Asuyim L'Shtanis. Don't be concerned about changing. L'Chamis. Another way to explain. The Kuliyam Shumein Asuyim L'Shtanis Tachamisa. All agree that's not going to change after death. V'Simonin D'Rabbanan. And really Simonin are only with the Rabbanan. V'Acha B'Shuma Simon Muva Kamifliki. The question here is, yeah, typically Simonin, a tag, or this, that's not really a solid Simon. That's only in the Rabbanan. But here, it's a Simon Muvak. It's an absolute form of identity. There's no room for mistake here. Right? So perhaps that's different. That provides a higher degree of reliability and confirmation. Mar Savar Shuma Simon Muvaku. So one Shita says it is Simon Muvak, and therefore it's reliable even in Torah. Umar Savar, Tanakama holds no, Shuma Lav does not qualify as a Simon Muvaku. Amar Rava. Imtim Tzalayim Simon Lav Derais. You know what? If we speculate that Simonim is not Menat Torah, so how can we employ the Simonim system when it comes to returning a lost item? Why do we do that? Right? We understand how. Hefker bears and Hefker, but Rashi says, Kalima, for instance, Mata Kana Ro, let's figure out why. Mata Kana Ro Chacham B'davar Likanis B'Safek Lahachser Mamen L'Mishein Shaloi. That's Rashi's Lashon, meaning why the Rabbanan get involved in taking this risk and allowing you to return the item just by the way of simanim, which isn't a firm, confirmation. Why we get involved in that and risk, losing the owner, having the owner lose his item? Answers the Gemara. There's a communal understanding, a communal consensus, so to speak, that we follow this system. A person finds an item, you know what, he's willing to conform to the system, to return it through simanim. Because when he loses an item, likewise, he wants to employ that system. So when he loses an item, he can tap into the system as well and have the item returned to him. It's very nice, but if the focal point is on the finder, it's like he's agreeable to returning it through simanim. Well, he's not the owner of the item. Understand it's to his benefit, because if he loses it, basically it's not his money. He's taking a risk. He's returning the item to a person who may not really be the owner. Why? Because this is the finder. Because the finder has personal benefits, so that when he loses it, who says he has a say in the matter? It's not his item. How could he take that risk? Rather, the answer is like this. The focus is on the owner of the item. Let's focus on the owner of the item. He's okay with it. He's agreeable that we employ this system of siman, lamei of siman mishkalei, that he can retrieve his item simply by giving siman. You know why? May the other item leslie. He knows good and well he doesn't have witnesses to prove ownership. Or maybe he's figuring, look, your regular person doesn't really have an absolute form of identifying his item, right? But no, I'll provide the best siman and I'll take it. So basically, it's a good system. It works. Everybody's happy with it. Asks the Gemara, if that's the basis for simanim, elahadasnan. What about the Mishnah? Rabbi Shimon Leimer, right? If the point is that the owner is agreeable, Rabbi Shimon Leimer echad halevi mishleish yachsel leiv. Right? We had this the other day. You find 3 loan documents next to each other, and they're all named Reuven All of them have Reuven borrowed from Shimon, Reuven borrowed from Levi, Reuven borrowed from Yehuda. They're all based on the same borrower. So you know the borrower dropped it. Why else would the three documents be sitting next to each other? That's a Levi. Which basically means documents have been paid up. Otherwise, they wouldn't be by the Levi, right? On the other hand, if you find three documents, all with the same lender's name, so you know it came from him. And the loans are still outstanding, the balance is still due. Yachsel Malva. Now, who says it belongs to the Malva? Maybe it really belongs to the Levi. The answer is because we assume it's his, right? It's like a simon, right? In this situation, you think the Levi, let's assume the Levi is really the owner. It doesn't really belong to the Malva. We're making a mistake. So the real owner is okay with this? He doesn't want us to give it back to the Malva. Amarlis, he said like this, no, Hasam Svaru. There we don't need his the Levi's agreement. We don't need his consent. Svaru, plain simple logic, that if three are found together, chances are it belongs to the same person, because why would they all have the same name? Right, in the first case, where all three documents have the same borrower, we assume it's his. He dropped it, the Gabi Levi Shchichi. Gabi Mavel Shchichi, because apparently it all fell from the same person, because all three documents were in the possession of the Levi, right? That makes sense. They weren't sitting in the possession of the lenders. Why would they all have the same borrower on them? It's unlikely that three lenders dropped at the same place, right? Shma Mino, apparently, right? Miloiva Nofel fell from the Levi. On the other hand, with the same lender, all three the same lender, apparently they fell from the lender. Because they're all coming from the Malva, not from the Levi. So it's saying plain simple logic. Well, we have another kasha. What about the other halach in the Mishnah? A good story. You found a bunch of stories, right? And we work with the Simon system and we turn it to the, let's say, to the lender, right? Basically, he's going to collect on the loan. What do you mean? Is the Levi okay with giving it to the Malva? No, he wants the finder to hold on to it forever. He doesn't want the Malva to collect on it. Rava says like this. Simon and Doraisa, how do we know that Minatira, Simon are adequate? Right, that was the passage we had before. Hold on to it until your brother comes and claims it. What do you mean? Of course. What are you going to give it to me before he claims it? No. You test your brother. See if he's really the owner. In Rama, is he legit or not? And Rav is assuming, how are you going to confirm ownership of Simonim? By providing a sign of ownership, Shema Minah, that proves that Simonim are enough. Which is interesting because earlier, the Gemara brought the same right. The Gemara responded, well, maybe you need Eidim, which actually the Gemara is going to speak about in a minute, Bez Hashem tomorrow. But Rava went with the track that Simonim is the Raisa, and that's why he learned the Pasuk likewise. Okay, so we have the Sugi of Simonim, we have a Mishnah, and the Gemara goes through all the items mentioned in the Psukim. Each one has a Chiddush regarding Simonim of the saddles enough, and we spoke about the idea of a Shava Pruta, right? So that it's considered a loss, considered a find. We questioned the concept of Simonim, how it works. Is it Minat Torah? In which case it would work for a Get Isha. Is it only Midrabbanan? So it only works by monetary issues based on Bezdin Hefka. We tried to prove it from a number of places, which didn't really work out. But ultimately, the Gemara says, in the name of Rava, Simon is the Reis. All the best to you, Natzlacha Rabba.